June 12th, 2018. This is part 2 of the class that we started last week regarding turning the back to the Hekhal during Qabbalat Shabbat. Last week we discussed the Kabbalistic basis of this minhag, which actually is not a minhag because it's something new that was adopted recently, and nor is it Kabbalistic because if you look at the Kabbalistic writings, what the Mekubbalim did was based upon certain kavanot. So what's done today is an oddity in that it purports to be a Kabbalistic practice when in fact it is not a Kabbalistic practice for the reason that it doesn't follow most of the Kabbalistic instructions. As I said, especially the kavanot. I want to give a part 2 of this class. The part 2 of this class that I'm giving today is for the following reason. Some people came to me, and I have to say, Baruch Hashem, many Chachamim came to me, and they were very pleased that somebody finally taught about this subject, because everybody who remembers our parents, everybody who remembers our grandparents know that this wasn't done. This is new. So Hachamim came to me, they were very pleased that I taught this subject. But a question was raised by some less informed people, less knowledgeable people. The question was, what about the Isur of Lo Titkodedu? There's a pasuk in the Torah that says Lo Titkodedu, the Peshat of the pasuk and the Isur de Oraita related to the pasuk means that, for example, among the Goyim, among the Gentiles, when a family member would die, they would do seita, they would scratch themselves till blood would flow out as an act of mourning. Or another variant would be Gedida. So Gedida was to take a knife or some sharp object and cut yourself and let the blood flow out, and this in honor of some god. By the way, the Shiite Muslims still do this today in Lebanon. That's actually a pagan custom, a pagan act. That's called Lo Titkodedu. But the Hachamim learned from Lo Titkodedu that also Lo Ta'asu agudot. Interesting, Lo Ta'asu agudot. I think this is fantastic. The Hachamim are teaching us that Lo Ta'asu agudot means don't split up into variant minhagim. Right? So some people do this way, other people do that way. Don't do that. That's called an agudah. Agudah means a group. Lo ta'asu agudot agudot. So as I said, I think this is fantastic. Think of the chokhmah of hachamim. So a person cuts himself with a knife, and he splits open, and the skin splits open, and there's a horrible injury. Is there an act of national self-immolation? And the answer is yes. When we make agudot, when we have different practices and different, variant practices, this is lo ta'asu agudot agudot. That's almost like you're cutting yourself, right? Because Am Yisrael should be ideally unified. So that's lo ta'asu agudot agudot. So the isur of lo ta'asu agudot agudot means you shouldn't have variant practices. So wait, if everybody is turning their back to the Hekhal, and I don't, isn't that Lo Ta'asu Agudot Agudot? Doesn't that violate Lo Ta'asu Agudot Agudot? So I want to deal with that subject. And first of all, state the following obvious, or at least it should be obvious, point. Of course, Lo Ta'asu Agudot Agudot does not apply to a situation where the kahal is misinformed, and because it's misinformed, it engages in an act that is dubious. Lo Ta'asu Agudot Agudot doesn't force someone to engage or perform an act which he feels is inappropriate, right? So we discussed giving the back to the Hekhal, and I'll discuss it further in this class. But it's not a question just of minhag. Oh, we do it this way, they do it that way. It's way beyond that. I don't think that I want to give my back to the Hekhal when I'm praying. I don't think I want to give my back to the Kotel when I'm praying. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I don't want to do that. And I'm pretty sure that doing that is highly problematic. We will read what the Gemara says soon. But let's just discuss Lo Ta'asu Agudot Agudot and say that Harambam brings this law in Hilchot Avodah Zarah at the end, Perek Yod Bet, and he's quite machmir, actually. Harambam is pretty stringent because there's a machloket in the Gemara. The machloket in the Gemara is according to the machloket in the Gemara, Masechet Yevamot Daf Yod Gimal Amud Bet, and then it continues to Yod Dalet Amud Aleph. So there's a machloket in the Gemara between Abaye and Rabbah. So according to Rabbah, Rabbah is lenient, relatively lenient in that he says the violation of Lo Ta'asu Agudot Agudot means if you have one betin, and inside that one betin, you have some of the dayanim, some of the hachamim, they act in a certain minhag, and then others in the betin, they have an opposite minhag. It's in the same bet din, and Rava makes Pesak Alacha Lo Ta'asu Agudot Agudot in the same bet din. But let's say you have two bet dins in the city, and one bet din has a particular minhag, and the other bet din has another minhag. There's no issue of Lo Ta'asu Agudot Agudot. Abaye is Polek al Rabbah. Abaye says no. Even if you have two Batei Dinim in one city, you have the issue of Lo Ta'asu Agudot Agudot. Harambam is Mahmir. Harambam is Mahmir. Most of the poskim are Mekilim, but Harambam is Mahmir like Abaye. Listen to what Harambam writes in Hilchot Avodah Zarah, which we're going to come back to later, unfortunately. But listen to what he writes in Hilchot Avodah Zarah, Perek Yod Bet, Halacha Yod Daled. Ubichlal Azhara Zo, included in the pasuk of Lo Titkodedu, Shelo Yiyu Shene Batei Dinim Be'ir Achat. Ze noheg b'minhag ze, v'ze noheg b'minhag acher. You should not have two Batei Dinim in one city, where one bet din does in a certain way and another bet din does in another way. For example, one bet din says this basar is kasher, the other bet din says no, the basar is taref. So that's Lo Ta'asu Agudot Agudot. We're going to explain this soon. I'm just giving you the basic halacha so you understand it, and then later on we'll examine the applicability of this halacha in the modern context. But you have two batei dinim, one says kasher, one says taref. That's Lo Ta'asu Agudot Agudot. If it's in the same city, if it's in the same city, right? This is a stringency of Harambam. Again, most of the poskim don't adopt this stringency, right? But he says, why is this asur? Shedavar ze gorem lemachloket gedola. V'chatuv lo titkodedu, lo ta'asu agudot agudot. So this is Harambam. But as I said, most of the poskim are not mechmirim like Harambam. Most of the poskim are actually mekilim like Rabbah and say, no, the isur of lo titkodedu is only in the same bet din. When you have one bet din, and some people say haram, other people say no mutar, that's lo titkodedu. But if it's two batei dinim, there's no isur of lo titkodedu. So let me think for a second. You're in Eretz Yisrael. You have, I don't know how many Batei Knesset in my neighborhood. You have an Ashkenazi Bet Knesset, you have a Moroccan Bet Knesset, you have a Yemenite Bet Knesset, you have an Edot Mizrach Bet Knesset, you have Ashkenaz, which is Ashkenazim that pray Nosach Ashkenaz, you have Sfard, which is Ashkenazim that pray Nosach Sfard. I don't know how many Batei Knesset and how many Noshaot. You have Minyan Eretz Yisrael Hadash, which is some sort of mixture of the two different Edot. So isn't this Lo Titkodedu? Okay, so simple answer. Lo titkodedu, as we said, according to the lenient opinion, and Rabbi Yosef Karo, the author of the Shulchan Aruch, he takes a lenient opinion. If you have it in two batei dinim, it's not lo titkodedu. So we solved the problem, but we really did, because I pray in a synagogue in the morning. The synagogue I pray in the morning, there's Ashkenazim, there's Sephardim. So some people stand for Kaddish, other people sit for Kaddish. Some people stand when they say the Achrazat Rosh Chodesh, other people sit when they say Achrazat Rosh Chodesh. Some people are praying Nosach Sephard, what they call other people praying Nosach Ashkenaz, and it's in the same synagogue. So even according to the Shita of Rava, which is Hekhal, there's an Isur of Lo Titkodedu. So how can we accept this? How can this be? Okay, so that's why we need to read what Rabbi Yosef Karo says in the Apkat Rochel Siman Lev, Siman Lamed Bet. I'm going to read it to you now. He says as follows. On the Yisur of Lo Titkodedu, he says, he was dealing with a situation where there was people who wanted to make Pesach Halacha like Harambam, right? And this was the minhag. The minhag in these kehilot, like the Yemenites, many of the Yemenites make Pesach Halacha like Harambam. So the question is, these people used to make Pesach Halacha like Harambam. The question is, can we come to them and say, wait, what are you making Pesach Halacha like Harambam? You should make Pesach Halacha like the Shulchan Aruch, like some of the more standard poskim among the Sephardim. Why making Pesach Halacha like Harambam? So first of all, just so you know, as long as we raise the issue, he says, Rabbi Yosef Karo, who by the way was the author of the Shulchan Aruch, so you can't say he was prejudiced against his Shulchan Aruch, but he says, anybody who has a minhag to make Pesach like Harambam should continue making Pesach like Harambam. And he says, Harambam zal asher hu gadol haposkim. Harambam was the greatest posek. B'chol kirot Eretz Yisrael, והמערב נוהגים על פיו, וקיבלו עליהם לרבן. And many of the kehilot accepted Harambam as the authority for halacha. Right, so says Rabbi Yosef Karo, whoever decides to follow Harambam, whether it's lekula or lekumra, who are we to tell them, no, don't follow Harambam, follow the Rosh, follow the Shulchan Aruch, follow the Rishba? No, they follow Harambam. But then there was a question brought, isn't there a problem of Lo Titkodedu, that some people are following Harambam, other people are following the Shulchan Aruch? He says, Veleka mishum lo titkodedu. Dehoil v'chol kahal lohe k'minhago harishon hava le k'shtei batei dinim irachat. He says, there is no isur of lo titkodedu in a case where a person has a minhag avot, where a person has a legitimate minhag that he got from his parents. Yani, his parents followed Harambam. That's legitimate. You can't tell the guy, no, you shouldn't do like your parents anymore. Lo titkodedu. There's no issue of lo titkodedu when a person is following minhag avotav and continuing. Right? אין כאן משום לא תתקודדו, כדאית בפרק כמה דהיבמות, וכל קהל וקהל כעיל בפני עצמו, שאין בני קהל אחד כופים לבני קהל אחר. And one synagogue has no right to tell another synagogue, okay, that's it. You guys, you're Yemenites, you follow Harambam, you're making haram, lo titkodedu. You can't do it. Don't follow Harambam anymore. You cannot do that because there is no isur of lo titkodedu on a person who's following the minhag of his parents. So that's number one. What about in the same synagogue? I'll tell you my personal opinion. My personal opinion is, and I know that I'm in the minority here, my personal opinion is you shouldn't have a situation where during Kaddish people are standing, people are sitting. So for example, I pray in Minyan in the morning, sometimes some people are saying the Kaddish, the full Kaddish, which is the Edot Mizrach, יש להם הרבה משמיה, חיים, ושמה, וישועה, ונחמה, ושזבה. Whereas the Ashkenazim, they're mekatzrim, they have a shortened version. And they have the two people saying Kaddish, one person is saying long, one person is saying short. It's fine. By the way, it's Baruch Hashem, everything is done be'ahava ve'achva. That's the most important thing, is that people really, there's unity, there's no machloket, everybody understands and respects each other's minhagim. I think that's the most important point. And beyond everything else I'm saying, which are halacha issues, but the most important overriding point is that Baruch Hashem, these Batei Knesset, where I pray, there's ahava ve'achva shalom ve'reu. That's number one. So even though Sephardim say a longer version, Ashkenazim say a shorter version, they say it together, and that's beautiful. But again, the question is, if we make Pesach halacha like that Rava, even according to Rava, in the same Bet Din, or in the same synagogue, you shouldn't have two minhagim. I believe that this is something to consider. I believe, meaning in the same synagogue, you should not have two minhagim, but I'm in the minority. Nevertheless, I do want to read for you a Pesach of Rav Ovadia Yosef. And in this Pesach, which by the way I think is one of the greatest Pesachim he wrote, it's really, I absolutely love this Pesach. It is so powerful. It really, I studied it on Shabbat, and I was so, every time I read this Pesach, it just, it's fantastic. It's Yabi'a Omer, Chelik Vav, Even Ha'ezer, Siman Yod Daled. He discusses the question of Lo Titkodedu. So back in the days, the chief rabbinate of Israel wanted to unify some of the laws between Ashkenazim and Sephardim. One of the laws they wanted to unify was regarding the question of Yibum. So if a person dies without children and he has a living brother, the living brother has to either make Yibum, marry his dead brother's wife, the Yavama, or he can make Halisa, in which case he doesn't marry her, but she has to be choleset et na'alo, me'al raglo, and there's this Halisa ceremony. Universally among the Sephardi communities, always, Yibum is preferred over Halisa. On the other hand, the Ashkenazim were poskim like the Rama, who says no, we don't do Yibum, we do Halisa. Machloket. Sephardim, we prefer to do Yibum. Ashkenazim, no. Halisa. What happened? The chief rabbinate, this is before Rav Ovadia was the Rav Rashi. The chief rabbinate, Ashkenazim, Sephardim, they signed the takana that said from now on, everybody is going to be doing Halisa like the Ashkenazim. And Rav Ovadia wrote here a Pesach, really simply outstanding, incredible bekiut. I mean, I just read it just for the pure enjoyment of the sources and the hachamim he brings. And at the end, he raises an interesting question. What about Lo Titkodedu? Comes the chief rabbinate, they want to make a unified minhag. And as I told you 5 minutes ago, I think a unified minhag would be great. But do we get rid of our minhag abot because we want to make a unified minhag? Let me read you what he says. Right. He brings the of Kotel which we just read, and he says, every community may continue following the practices of its fathers. And there, each synagogue is like a different bet din. And since, as we said, we make Pesach like Rava, lehakel, that if it's two batei dinim, you can have varying practices, so it should be done. And he says, "V'kaim alan kerava," we make Pesach like Rava. Devechahai gavna en b'zeh mishum lo titkodedu. וכן כתב בשו"ת פנים מאירות לגבי האשכנזים והספרדים שכל קהל נוהג כמנהג אבותיו, and the שאלות ותשובות פנים מאירות says also, you have Sephardim in the city, you have Ashkenazim in the city, Sephardim will continue to follow the practices of their fathers, and Ashkenazim will continue to follow the practice of their fathers. She'en bazeh mishum lo titkodedu, and this is not a violation of lo titkodedu. Right. Right. Ve'en harov ma'aleh u'morid inyan zeh, and we don't look at the majority. There's no majority rules here. You know, if you're an individual and you are in the minority, but you're following the minhag of your parents, there's no say, oh no, you should give up your minhag. No, if the individual, if the parents come from a community of Talmidei Chachamim, where they had real masoret, where they had real minhagim that were established by Batei Din, we're not going to tell them, no, give up your minhag. No, continue following. Right. Right. וכן כתב הגימנת ורדים ועוד אחרונים, וכן ראיתי אלון בשו"ת דברי מלכיאל, שכתב שבכל קהילות שיש שם ספרדים ואשכנזיים, יש להורות לספרדים כמנהגם, שפוסקים כדברי הבית יוסף, אף נגד הרמה, ולאשכנזיים כמנהגם, שפוסקים כדעת הרמה. Right. ורן בעניין זה שאול מן שכתב השואל ומשיב תריתאה בדבר איש ספרדי שישב בקהל אשכנז. There was once a Sephardi that was sitting in an Ashkenazi community. Here is a fantastic point. One Sephardi lived among Ashkenazim. You don't have two Batei Dinim here. You have one Bat Din here. You have a single Ashkenazi Bet Knesset. So here you would say, wait, here you really have Lo Titkodedu. Even according to Rava, who was Hekhal, according to Rava, if you have two minhagim in one Bet Din, that's Asur Mishum Lo Titkodedu. So now you have the Sephardi here. He's sending you in an Ashkenazic synagogue. You're going to tell him, Ya Habibi, what are you doing in Sephardi minhagim? This is okay if you have your Sephardic synagogue, do your Sephardic minhagim. But you're a Sephardi, you're in an Ashkenazic synagogue, right? So you have to accept Ashkenazic practices. Now the Inyan Tefillah I'm not talking about. I don't believe that a Sephardi in an Ashkenazi synagogue should out loud start singing in Makam, Siga, and start doing Petihot, Yaleli, Yaeli, Yaeli. No, I'm not saying that, okay? Obviously, what you do Besina'an, you respect the people around you. But look what happened here. Look what happened. ויבם אשת אחיו שמת בלא בנים. ותהום כל העיר, the Sephardi, his brother died without children. So this Sephardi made Yibum on the Yevama, on the wife, on the widow of his brother. And everybody went crazy. Whoa, what did you just do? How can you do Yibum? Like as if the guy just did an Avera. He didn't do an Avera. It's a mitzvah deoraita to do Yibum. He made a mitzvah, but they were all going crazy on him. Right? There was a huge tumult in the city. This guy said, I don't know what you guys are all excited about. מאחר שהוא ספרדי ולא כמנהגם ונתכוון למצוות ייבום. This guy is a ספרדי, he's doing מצוות ייבום. ובפרט שכבר עשה מעשה. יחס ושלום לחשוב מחשבת אב. Okay, what do we see here? We see here, if you have a minhag avot, even if you live in an Ashkenazi community, you can continue practicing your minhag avot. You shouldn't give it up. This is the correct minhag, by the way. What Harav Ovadia proves unequivocally is that the correct minhag al pi Talmud is to do yibum, not to do halisa. Halisa is the second option, not the first option. So this Sephardi was one Sephardi in an Ashkenazi community. There's no lo titkodedu. He was doing a mitzvah. Now what are we going to say? We're going to tell that now I'm in a Bet Knesset. Everybody turns their back to the Hekhal. I don't have that situation, but everybody turns their back to the Hekhal, and I know that this is improper. My parents never turned their backs to the Hekhal. My Chachamim didn't turn their backs to the Hekhal. Harav Ovadia Yosef didn't turn his back to the Hekhal. Rabbi Yosef Kafech didn't turn his back to the Hekhal. The Chachamim from Morocco didn't turn their backs to the Hekhal. The Chachamim from Lebanon, from Halab, from Damascus, none of the Chachamim turned their backs to the Hekhal. This is not good enough. I'm not turning my back to the Hekhal. I'm not going to turn my back to the Hekhal, and I'm not going to turn my back on the customs of my Chachamim. of my parents, of my grandparents. I ain't turning my back on that either. And there's no problem here with lo titkotedu. Lo titkotedu is a misnomer when applied to a person who is following properly minhag avotav. And that's a very important point. I wanted to bring this out so that if anybody comes and says, oh wait, hold on, lo titkotedu. No, there's no lo titkotedu. We have the Hekhal that says that a person should follow minhag avotav. And we have Harav Ovadia Yosef who explains that the Isur of lo titkotedu doesn't apply to people following the minhagim of their fathers, and he brought that ma'aseh with that person who was in the Ashkenazi synagogue. He was a single person, alone, one. And he did Yibum, and he properly did Yibum, and everybody went crazy, look, he's Poresh Mehasibur, I don't know what he's doing, all the accusations against the guy was doing the right thing. He made Yibum, he made Mitzvah Aseh de Oraita, and there's no Isur of lo titkotedu. Okay. I'm not done. I'm not done because I have a lot to say. I don't know if it's all going to fit in one class. It might not. I want to read these pesukim carefully. You know what? I'll tell you, some things don't need to be explained. You can reach your own conclusion. I'm going to read these pesukim. This is in Hekhal. Open up the book, press pause the video, get the book of Hekhal, it's worth it. Because if you don't see these words with your own eyes, you're going to think I'm exaggerating, I'm making it up. I'm not exaggerating. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam shehakol nihya bidbaro. Perek Het, Hekhal Perek Het. Let's read some of these pesukim. Beautiful to read pesukim with ta'amim. We're just going to read a few pesukim. Vayhi bashana hashishit bashashi בחמישה לחודש אני יושב בביתי וזקני יהודה יושבים לפניי ותיפול עליי שם יד Adonai Elohim. He was sitting in his house, came the Chachamim, came the Zekenim to visit Yechezkel HaNavi. They're concerned, Yerushalayim, the Bet HaMikdash wasn't destroyed yet. It wasn't destroyed. The king is Sidkiyahu. They want to find out what's going to happen. Is Hashem going to destroy the Bet HaMikdash? Is he not going to destroy the Bet HaMikdash? It was tremendous anxiety. They come to Yechezkel HaNavi, they say, maybe you had a nevuah, maybe you know what's going to happen. Tell us what's going to happen. What's going to happen to our families? What's going to happen to Bet Kodshenu, V'tifartenu? What's going to happen to the Bet HaMikdash? And what happens is, Hashem, Malach comes to him, pulls him, Besisiyot Rosho, and he takes him in, he pulls him by the hair of his head, and he takes him into Yerushalayim, and he sees visions in Yerushalayim, and he takes him into the Bet HaMikdash. So Yechezkel is no longer in Bavel now. He was just taken, transported to the Bet HaMikdash. And Hashem tells him, I want you to look. I want you to see what a horrible things they're doing. And I'm going to read now, I'm skipping to Pasuk Vav. So Perek Het Pasuk Vav. Vayomer Elai Ben Avam Haroe Atta Mahem Osim To'evot Gedolot Asher Bet Yisrael Osim Po Lerachoka Me'al Mikdashi Ve'od Kashub Tir'eh To'evot Gedolot. And Hashem tells them, do you see? Man, look, do you see what they're doing? Look at the to'evot, look at the abominations that they're doing. These abominations, they're distancing me from the Bet HaMikdash. Look at what they're doing. And he takes them, and there's a hole in the wall. He says, dig into the hole so it's bigger, so you can look at it. I want you to see what they're doing. and he sees in the Bet HaMikdash, he sees Avodah Zarah. He sees the images of slithering creatures, of animals. And these images are drawn, these images of Avodah Zarah are drawn on the walls. Okay? And they're bringing ketoret of Avodah Zarah, right? And here is the shocking part. I want you to hear this, because this is like, to me, this is scary. So he just showed him Avodah Zarah. He just showed them bringing ketoret to Avodah Zarah, right? He shows them then the sins that they do in secret in their rooms, further Avodah Zarah. And then he says, Hashem tells Hekhal, you think you've seen it all? Now you see why I destroyed the Bet HaMikdash? No, you didn't. There's something worse. He says like this, Pasuk Yud Gimel, Vayomer Elai od tashub tir'eh to'evot gedolot asher hemma osim. What I'm going to show you now is going to be worse than what you just saw. Alright? And what does he show him? He shows him women crying for the god of Tammuz. There's some Avodah Zarah. And he says, you think you've seen it all, right? You think you've seen it all? I want to show you To'evot Gedolot Med. I want to show you something even worse, a worse abomination than what you just saw. And listen to this pasuk, pasuk Tet Zayin. Vayave oti el chasar bet Adonai hapenimit vehine fetach Hekhal Adonai ben ha'ulam uben ha'mizbeach k'esim ha'chamisha ish achorehem el Hekhal Adonai ufnehem kedma vehemma mishtachavim Mishtachavim kedma. Let me read that again. Vehemma mishtachavim kedma l'shamesh. He takes me into the Hekhal of Bet HaMikdash. I'm sorry, the outside of the Hekhal. Ben ha'ulam uben ha'mizbeach. The outside part, which still has, meaning it's the outer portion of the Bet HaMikdash, because it's an inner portion, and that's called the entrance of the inner portion is called the Ulam. And then past the Ulam you have the Hekhal, which is the inner portion where you have the Menorah HaZahav and the Mizbach HaKetoret, and you have there also the Shulchan HaZahav, but they're outside. Now, if you're in the Bet HaMikdash, which direction are you supposed to be facing? Well, you're supposed to be facing west towards the Hekhal, right? So you're outside. The outer Mizbeach is here, you're before the outer Mizbeach, right? And you're supposed to be facing the Hekhal. You want to know what the worst abomination, even worse than Avodah Zarah is? Hashem takes me here, and I see 25 people, and they're praying, and their backs are to the Hekhal, and they're facing the east, where the sun is. Can I say this again? The back is to the Hekhal, and they're facing the other direction. This is the worst abomination, as described by Hekhal, than Avodah Zarah. But I don't even know how to say that, because Avodah Zarah is the worst sin ever, and yet this is a worst abomination. What is it? Turning the back to the Hekhal. Honey, I'm in the middle of the class. You go upstairs, we'll talk later, okay? Go upstairs, close the door.
Just telling you need to go to my office.
Okay, I close the door. Alright. So, this is worse than Avodah Zarah? How can that be? I don't even know. But I'll tell you what I think. I think when you're giving your back to somebody, what you're really saying is, I know you're there, and I'm now turning around, giving you my back, that is a worse insult, and I'm going to show homage and respect to something else. I'm going to respect something else, show homage to something else. So Hashem is there in the Hekhal, the Shekhinah is there, but I'm turning my back on the Shekhinah because there's something else to show homage to. In this case, the sun. Is the sun real, by the way? Yes, the sun is real. Do we pray to the sun? No, we don't pray to the sun. So just because the sun exists doesn't mean we pray to it, and we certainly don't turn our back to Hashem to pray to the sun. Okay? That's Avodah Zarah. But it's worse than Avodah Zarah, because in doing this, you're chas v'shalom, you're desecrating the respect that needs to be shown to Hashem by turning your back to Hashem. So, I'm not done. I'm not done. I want to relate to you what the Gemara in Masechet Berachot Vav Amud Bet says. And you know what? Why relate it? Get the Gemara. Let me read it so you don't say I'm making this up. So the Gemara says, it brings the halacha, and after it brings the halacha, it brings the maaseh. Amar Rabunna. Amar Rabunna. Kol המתפלל אחרי בית הכנסת נקרא רשע. שנאמר, סביב רשעים תלכו. So he says like this: anybody who prays in back of the knees, we'll explain that in a moment, this person is called Rasha. אמר אביי לאמרן אלא דלה מידה רפה לבית הנשתה, אבל מידה רפה לבית הנשתה לאתנן בה. We're talking about a person who doesn't turn his face back to the knees. I'm going to explain this. So the person is standing outside the knees. So you have a knees. The knees is open to the street, for example. Let's say there's a back part of the knees, there's a front part of the knees, there's sides to the knees. I'm not going to get into all the variant explanations of what exactly the Gemara is talking about, because everybody agrees on what I'm about to say. Everybody agrees on what I'm about to say. Meaning, the explanation I'm offering now is an explanation that encompasses all of the explanations. So let's say you're standing in the back of the Bet Knesset. So let's say there's an entrance. Let's say you enter from the east, and people enter, and when you open the door to the Knesset, you see the Hekhal. You see where the Sifrei Torah are, the Hekhal, the Aron HaKodesh. Now this person went around, and he went to the back of the Knesset. Okay. Now, it says you're not allowed to pray. So everybody is facing which way? Let's say everybody's facing west to the Hekhal. This person is in back of the Knesset. Which way should he face? You say he should face west, of course. Because why is everybody facing west? They're facing west because that's the direction of Eretz Yisrael, or if they're in Israel, that's the direction of Yerushalayim. So he's outside the Knesset. He should face west. No. Because if he faces west, he's going to be giving his back to the Bet Knesset, to the Hekhal. And therefore, what should he do? He should turn around and face the Knesset. Even if you're outside the Knesset, you can't give your back in prayer to the Knesset. It's disrespectful. The Shekhinah is in the Knesset. How can you pray and give your back to the Knesset? Or there's another way. So the other way. So that what I explained it is according to Rashi and Harambam. But then there's a explanation that says no. So he's on the other side. Rabbeinu Yonah says no. He was on the front of the Knesset. So the front of the Knesset, the entrance, and he faced east. Again, he gave his back to the Knesset. Everybody agrees that you're not supposed to give your back to the Knesset. You can't pray by giving your back to the Knesset, right? There is a machloket on a person standing outside. If he's standing in the back, let me go back into my original example, whether you should face Israel. If Israel is to the west, and the Knesset is to his east. So now he's outside the Knesset. As I said, Rashi and Harambam and Rabbeinu Rashi and Harambam say you do not turn your back to the Knesset in prayer. Now, there is a machloket between Rabbeinu Ha'ayeh Gaon and Harambam. Harambam he has Shelot Utshuvot, Sefer Pe'er Hador. I think it was 150 Kof Nun, and there he describes this Gemara, and he says, let's say you're standing outside the Knesset, again from the back, and let's say Israel is to the west, so you want to face to the west, and Rambam says, no, you can't turn your back to the Knesset. It doesn't matter what direction you're praying from. Shulchan Aruch makes Pesach Halacha like Harambam. Le'achmir, meaning it says it doesn't matter what direction of the Knesset you're at. I don't care where Israel is. I don't care where Yerushalayim is. You're by a Knesset. You don't turn your back to the Knesset. The Shekinah is there. You cannot turn your back to the Knesset in Tefillah. This is Shulchan Aruch. Siman, Orach Chaim Siman Sadi, Serif Zayin. It's forbidden to pray. You cannot pray in back of a Knesset unless you turn around and face the Knesset. When I say in back of the Knesset, first he brings the explanation of Rabbeinu Yonah. He says it means the front of the Knesset, and then instead of facing where the Hekhal is facing, you turn around and you face the opposite direction. But then he says the Shulchan Aruch, and there are those who say no. The opposite, meaning the back of the Knesset is as Harambam says. And how do I make Pesach Halacha? You cannot pray outside the Knesset and give your back to the Knesset. It could also be the north of the Knesset, the south of the Knesset. You must face the Knesset. You must face the Knesset. You cannot turn your back to the Knesset. Morai v'Rabotai. What is more kadosh? The Hekhal or Bet HaKnesset? Of course the Hekhal. I can sell a Knesset and use the money to buy an Aron Kodesh. I can't sell an Aron Kodesh and use the money to buy a Knesset. The Shekinah is in the Hekhal. How can anybody turn their back to the Hekhal in Tefillah? How can you do that? In light of this Gemara, what kula? What kula could you? Where is there a place for kula? We're talking here about desecrating bar minam, chas v'shalom, not showing the proper respect to the Shekinah. Let's continue the Gemara. The Gemara says that there was a person who got a little confused. And let's see what happened to this person. Again, we're in Masechet Berachot Avav Amud Bet. It says, there was a person who was in back of the Knesset, and let's choose the explanation of Harambam in Rashi. He was on the west side of the Knesset. The Knesset was facing west towards Eretz Yisrael, or towards Yerushalayim. So what did this person do? He's standing outside the Knesset. He says, where am I going to face? I'm going to face towards Israel. Right? But he's outside the Knesset. Right? He didn't turn to the Knesset as he should have turned to the Knesset. In which case he would be giving, not facing Eretz Yisrael, but he wouldn't be giving his back to the Knesset. You can't give your back to the Knesset in prayer. Halaf Eliyahu saw this. Outrage. Eliyahu Navi saw this, and he dressed himself up like an Arab traveler or a seller traveling. Amar le kedu bar kayan kameh marach shalav safsira vekatle. He says, what does it mean kedu bar kayan kameh marach? Eliyahu Navi says, there's two explanations. The explanation of Rashi, which I actually like the most, says kedu, du is two. Like du partzuf, right? Two. Like Adam Arishon had two faces, two sides. Kedu bar means reshut. Are there two reshuyot in front of your God? Because the Minim believed that there was several reshuyot to Hashem, bar minah, like the Christians. You know, there's the Father, the Son. He says, you believe that there's more than one reshut? There's two reshuyot? So sometimes you pray in this direction, other times you pray in that direction. Aroch says kedubar is actually an Arabic word which means your back. You know what the Aroch's explanation is? You dare give your back to your Creator? You give Him your back? Shalav safsireh vekatleh. He took out his knife, killed him on the spot. Again, not everything needs to be explained. Not everything needs to be elaborated upon. We do not turn our back to the Hekhal in Tefillah under any circumstance. It is not a regular avon, it is a toiva. let's perhaps just finish with the following question. Somebody brought me the Teshuvah of Harav Ovadia and Yechavedat Chelek Gimel, where he deals with a more technical question, and he does deal with the question of Qabbalat Shabbat. But if you look at his She'elah Teshuvah, he's very careful in the way he phrases the question. And it's a technical question of turning the back to the Sefer Torah, which is above 10 tefachim or less than 10 tefachim. He doesn't deal with any of these issues. These were not the issues that he dealt with. Perhaps he wanted to deal with them later, at a later time, in a different Pesach. We know that Harav Ovadia was studying Torah and writing almost to the last day of his life. He was writing, and he had many Pesakim he wanted to write, and many of his Pesakim didn't even come out to light yet, and hopefully they'll come out soon. I'm not sure why he didn't want to deal with these issues. He dealt with an issue. He dealt with the question of above 10 tefachim, less than 10 tefachim. I want to say something. People love to be Hekhal, always people looking for leniencies. So they use that Pesach Halacha and they go to the Kotel and they turn their back to the Kotel. So can I ask a question? What does turning the back to the Kotel have to do with whether you can turn your back to a Sefer Torah which is above or less than 10 tefachim? How are the two things related in any way? What does the Kotel have to do with the height of the Sefer Torah? Where we say if it's above 10 tefachim, we let the Kohanim turn their back to do Kohanim, even though the Sefer Torah is there, because the Sefer Torah is Tofes Reshut Le'atzmo. How is this related to turning your back to the Kotel? It's not. Turning the back to the Kotel during Qabbalat Shabbat is an abomination. It's an abomination. And I will ask you to answer two questions. That's all. Two questions. When you turn your back to the Kotel, and the Chachamim told us, the Shekhinah lo zaza mikotel ha'ma'aravi. So the Shekhinah is there. There's no argument. Kodesh HaKodashim, still Kadosh. No argument. That's an established fact. So my first question, I said I have two questions. My first question, who are you turning your back to? You're in Knis. The Hekhal is there. Who are you turning your back to? You're in the Kotel. The Kodesh HaKodashim is there. Who are you turning your back to? That's one question. The answer is the Shekhinah, right? And there's no question. It's the Shekhinah. Okay. My second question, and what are you turning your face towards? Where you bow down, and so on. What are you turning your face towards? Well, we said the Shekhinah is in the Kotel, it's in the Sefer Torah, so is it something else? If it's the same thing, then Eliyahu Navi doesn't like that, because Eliyahu Navi says, are there two reshiot in front of Hashem? Two reshiot, two domains in front of Hashem? So I hope that's not the answer you want to give. Is it? I hope it's not. Oh, so it's something else. Are you allowed to pay homage to something else? What do we call in Hebrew a person who prays or honors something else in prayer? What do we call that? Again, I don't want to say anything. I just want to read you what Harambam says. The main point of Avodah Zarah, it is forbidden to worship any of the creations, no malach, even a malach. So comes to me Malach Gabriel or Malach Michael, and Malach Chas v'Shalom bring a ketoret in honor of Malach Michael, or bring a ketoret in honor of Malach Gabriel, or say a tefillah to the Malach. If you did that would be Avodah Zarah. V'lo kocham, v'lo echad me'avad Yisrael, you can't worship any of the stars, any of the celestial bodies. V'lo echad v'kol ha'nivla'im mehem. Even if the person bringing the korban to the star or to the sun or to whatever, he knows that Hashem is the creator and he knows that Hashem is the one God. But he says, in addition to worshiping God, I want to worship these. This person is doing avodah zara. It's avodah zara to pay homage to another deity, to turn your back on the Shekhinah and pray to another deity? Whenever you're praying to, so if you think it's a Shabbat Malketah, now I'm not getting into what the Shabbat Malketah is, that's a question from Mekubalim and Kabbalah and Solot Torah, that's something. Do we pray to something else other than Hashem? Because when you are giving your back to the Shekhinah and saying these beautiful Pesukim and so on, and you're facing something else, you're directing your tefillah to something else, that's tefillah. And the tefillah is directed to something else. That's avodah zarah. And therefore, le'aniyut da'ati, we have to consider what we are doing. We have to consider the implications of what we are doing. You know, some people want to be mekilim with meat. They say, no, we don't eat halak bet Yosef. Let's be mekilim like the Ramah and have only kosher. No halak meat. What would we tell them? We're not going to be mekilim. What, you're going to be mekilim with eating, bringing into our body basav terefot? No way. No kula. Person wants to be mekel with Shabbat. Let's do this. Let's do that. What are we going to tell him? Yeah, let's be mekilim. We're not going to be mekilim on the laws of Ilchot Shabbat. Safek deoraita lechumra. We're not going to be mekilim. But when it comes to avodah zarah, turning the back to the Hekhal, turning the back to the Shekhinah, we know what Yehezkel HaNavi said. We know what the Gemara in Masechet Berachot said. We know what Eliyahu HaNavi did to that person who only did it b'shogeg. He did it as a mistake. It was a one-time act. He killed him. Oh no, we can do it, it's okay, we're welcoming the Shabbat. Let's be mekilim to welcome the Shabbat. Balminan. What type of attitude is this? Am Yisrael, wake up. Wake up. We have to get rid of all the minut and anything that looks like minut and anything that looks like avodah zarah. We have to this is the worst avon in the world. We have to get rid of all these things from our midst. Pray to Hashem. Tamim tihiyeh Ayim Adonai Elohecha. ובזכות זה ובא לציון גואל ולשווה תשע ביעקב.